So one of the questions that I've been asked is, do we ever really heal from a trauma or from a relationship or from a toxic environment or whatever it is that we might have gone through? And so the short answer is no. The more complicated answer is yes. So let me explain. Once we've been through a breakup, for example, in a relationship, part of our healing journey is understanding, how did I co-create that environment? Because at the end of the day, situations don't just happen to us, we co-create them, right? And so when you end a relationship, part of your healing journey is reflecting on that relationship and understanding what caused it to lead to the point where the relationship had a breakdown. What can you learn about yourself and your own triggers and how you co-created that? So in other words, your coping mechanisms, the way that you acted or responded in situations, your conflict management skills, your communication skills, whatever it might have been that contributed or co-created that got that relationship to break down. How do you use those insights from a self-development, self-growth point of view? And then how do you apply those insights going forward into your next relationship so that you get a different outcome? Now, that doesn't mean that once you've been on a healing journey, your traumas or your experiences are completely healed and we never ever have them again in our lives. What happens is we can actually start discerning the difference between what is my stuff, my trauma, and a lot of that stuff comes from our childhood, right? Our upbringing, which shapes and influences who we become and how we co-create or forge relationships with other people, as well as our past experiences, previous relationships, traumas, whatever it is that we've experienced. That all adds on and becomes our baggage that we bring into relationships with us. Now, we all have baggage. If somebody says to you they don't have baggage, sorry, you're in denial. We all have baggage. But the more we work on ourselves and develop our self-awareness and understand what our triggers are, the better we are able to manage situations in terms of self-regulating ourselves and making a conscious choice to respond and react differently in our new relationship or new situations. So let me give you an example. Let's say that your previous partner relationship cheated on you, and therefore you tend to have trust issues. And understanding what led to your partner cheating on you. So maybe you were involved in work and your focus and attention was on work and you neglected your relationship and your partner, and ultimately that contributed to your partner going and having an affair with someone else, right? Now, going forward into your new relationship, it's about understanding how did you co-create it. So instead of neglecting your partner in your relationship, finding a balance between work and what needs to be done in the workplace and your relationship and your partner being equal priorities in your life, and making space and time and having energy for both of those places. When you're being triggered in a new relationship, so in other words, you're in a new relationship now, your partner picked up their phone, they had a phone call, they walked outside and they answered the phone. In that moment, that could have triggered a previous experience for you based on your previous relationship, and now that triggers insecurities and trust issues in you in terms of what is your partner doing that they had to walk outside to answer the phone. Now you can have a choice to respond the way you would have in the past and perhaps start accusing your new partner of doing something behind your back or being suspicious about them, or you can choose to respond differently by asking them and acknowledging that you're being triggered. So for example, when you did this, it made me feel this, and what I would like or need from you instead is this. Okay, so let's phrase that. When you picked up the phone and walked outside to answer it, it triggered me and I started feeling insecure as to what you were doing and who you were speaking to. And I recognize that part of that comes from my previous relationship from a trust perspective. And What I need, or what I want from you right now, is I just need a bit of reassurance and context as to the situation so that I understand what's going on and that I know that I've got nothing to be worried or concerned about. So we don't fully heal from our traumas. We learn to manage them better, becoming aware of when we're being triggered, what the source of our trigger is, and how to self-soothe and regulate ourselves, but also how to ask our partner for our needs to be met in that moment. And that's where couples need to work together, by sitting in those uncomfortable situations and having those courageous conversations. And that means by being vulnerable, by facing our fears, facing our insecurities, and putting ourselves out there, opening ourselves up to our partner and allowing our partner to step into our world so that they know how to be there and support us and reassure us, and vice versa. And by doing that, we co-create a safe space for us as couples to be able to work through situations together. And when we create a safe space where we can be vulnerable for each other, we create trust and we create safety, and that strengthens our bond and our connection with each other, that together we can face problems, we can work through problems, we can find solutions, and we can come out on the other side knowing how to be there for each other, which ultimately makes us better partners for each other, and we feel much more connected and we build a stronger relationship together. And that can apply in any area of your life. So it can apply in the workplace, it can apply in other parts of your life where you've experienced some kind of trauma or event or something that triggers you. So life is a lifelong journey of learning. Every opportunity we step into, every relationship that we step into, gives us an opportunity to learn something about ourselves in terms of our own levels of self-awareness and consciousness and reactivity. It gives us an opportunity to learn about environments and which environments trigger us. And it gives us opportunities to learn about the other person or persons that are involved and how we are showing up for each other and how we co-create safety and security and stability in our relationships, or reactivity, which creates coping mechanisms, and defensiveness, which can ultimately end up destroying relationships or ruining relationships because we get stuck in this defensive reactive cycle that can then become toxic in the long run. If you are on a healing journey, understand that healing is an ongoing journey, and the best place to get growth from is to sit in those uncomfortable spaces, not only face yourself, but get feedback from your partner or the other person in the situation. Because when we have context, we have clarity. When we have clarity, we have understanding. When we have understanding, we can show up with compassion and empathy, and we can be there in a supportive way. When we don't have context, we don't have clarity. When we don't have clarity, we have ambiguity. When there's ambiguity, we make up all sorts of stories or assumptions or presumptions about what is going on, because that's how the brain works. We try to make sense of something. And that's when we bring our own baggage into the space and we become reactive and defensive because we are feeling uncertain and unsafe and we're trying to protect ourselves. And that's when disconnect happens in relationships, and communication doesn't happen in a safe way, it happens in a defensive, reactive way. I hope that's given you some food for thought and some tools to work with. And if you're going through a healing journey or you're wanting to explore some healing, please send me a DM or reach out and let me help you with your journey and helping you in your road or your path to healing.